moving everywhere.
Ugh, I need you to say that.
All right, I'm gonna pick the. I love all three of the Expendables. I love the finale of the Expendables 3, but I'm going Expendables 2 because of JCVD and Scotty Atz. Scotty Atz gets.
I was going to pick that exact one.
When Jason Statham and Scotty Atz squared up in Expendables 2, I was going to lose my mind. And the fight didn't live up to the hype, but at least we got to see Jason Statham fight Scotty Atz in a movie.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to say Expendables 2. So all right, what's your fourth pick?
Not the new Rambo, but the Resurgence Rambo.
So from 08.
Yeah.
Rambo.
When he had that gun and he was like straight up shooting people's entire limbs off.
And heads explode like a water balloon.
But like, you know how people say like the term spilling blood? It really looked like decanters of blood being slapped off of a kitchen counter by a tiger. Like the way the blood was flying with that. I loved that, and just how I like old Sly. Like Rocky Balboa and the first of the two new Rambos, where he's just like old, tough, actually as strong as physically ever. Because first Rocky, he was tiny.
Oh yeah.
Like 30 pounds of muscle less. Tiny. Like, yeah, so I'm going Rambo.
All right, I'm going to do Copland.
That's a good one.
Because that's a good movie. That was his, like, kind of comeback, and it didn't do too well, but everyone went, yeah, we liked it. All right, you got one more. Hey, John, you got one more. Oh, there's a couple. I have a pick in here that I think will win you it.
I'm going to go Assassins.
Oh.
I came here to be number one. I can't do him at all. That's a terrible Antonio Banderas. He's like, wouldn't you just settle for a tie? Number one! And every time he's holding his finger up and shaking it while he's saying number one, but they're on the other side of walls, so like they don't see each other, so that like dramatic flair is just for us in the audience.
Yeah, I don't see you, Antonio.
All right, what's your fifth pick?
You know what? I'm gonna say Daylight because it's a fun movie. It's a good movie.
I think that movie gets called stupid because of the premise, but the execution just recaptures Cliffhanger.
Yeah, Jay Cluett, who you listened to today with the Piranha episode, he wants to do Daylight really badly, so we're going to actually cover that sometime on the podcast. So he'd be mad at me if I didn't put Daylight on this list.
It's interesting. So you have double rescue Cliffhanger Daylight, and I have double old man strong Rocky Balboa and Rambo.
This is tough. I mean,
We're going to challenge people. I wouldn't vote. If this happened to me, I probably wouldn't be able to vote.
Okay, so
these are tough.
Demolition Man is the most popular, right? Would you say? Yeah.
I think it is his best acting role out of everything that we listed.
I think Rocky Balboa is. I love him in Rocky Balboa.
That's fair. Yeah.
That's the most human. I know a lot of people like him in Creed, but his Rocky Balboa role is, there's so many little touches. Remember he employs the guy that he used to box? It's just such a heartfelt role. People love Dredd. Rambo, dude. That's a legit action film. Assassins.
That's brutal.
Yeah. I mean, but people like Copland. I think you're going to win, John. I think you're going to win 63% to 37%.
But here's the thing. If I win, it won't feel like winning because I love all of these movies.
And if you want to follow Movies, Films, and Flicks Facebook, you'll read John's reactions to a lot of these polls. So the other day I put a poll up. It was between this guy Neil Mitchell and myself, who we're covering all the 1990s comedy years. And John was just like, I can't do it, man. I can't. I just can't pick. I'm like, hey, man, like whatever you want. Vote against me. If you like Neil's team more, totally fine. This is a Facebook poll. And you're like, I can't do it, man.
No, because you both had multiple films that I treasure.
Someone replied, I agree. And I was like, wow.
Most of the time that I comment on these polls, I'm basically writing in different paraphrasing each time. how I can't vote or why I am abstaining or how much I hate you for making me try to decide.
I always get worried when you just immediately vote against one or the other, because I'm like, well, this poll wasn't that good. I like
well, it's just for me, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes me.
But what I'm saying is, I like it when you're freaking out about these things. When it's easy for you, it bums me out. I never get bummed out because you vote against me. I just get bummed out that you make the choice so easy, because I love it when you're like, I can't do it.
There have been a few times where I've had to like look at that post, at one of the poll posts, like 3 times a day, 3 days in a row, and then all of a sudden I'll vote. But I was like, it was like I was going to therapy for myself, reconciling shit in my head so that I could muster a side.
You were like that guy from Love Actually, when he walks out of that place from Keira Knightley after she finds out that he filmed a lot of her. And he's walking up with his sweater, rubbing his hair, thinking he's going to go back. And then he takes that long walk along the water, and he's just all distraught.
I think he was distraught because he realized, holy crap, if that worked, I would have been a pedophile because she's a minor.
Yeah, that was a weird scene, wasn't it, in Love Actually?
I mean, she wasn't a minor in the movie, obviously. Her character wasn't, but, like, she was.
In real life. Yeah, that's a weird movie.
So, okay. All right. Can we talk about the one scene that was maybe exciting to me when I was 20, but that now I watch it and I'm just like shaking my head no almost the whole time. I giggle a little bit, but when they're racing the streets of Chicago, that is, even from a filmmaking perspective, they didn't even make it look like those cars were going terribly fast except for a couple of moments.
Yeah.
But when the cop held up his radar gun and you saw the cars go by and it said 195, I'm just like, 42?
Yeah. There's no chance they were going 195.
They might have been going 42 miles an hour. And then when they go so fast by the bus stop that the glass shatters, I'm just thinking, this is downtown Chicago, right? Like, how did they even have enough room to accelerate to 40?
There's no way.
Right.
And then they blow up the lady's skirt and all, like, and then there's manhole covers flying everywhere. It doesn't hold up, because I'm thinking, who's paying for that newsstand that they blew up? Who's paying for? That's what I was worried about nowadays. Like, why are they doing? Like, I don't know. And also,
Carl Henry.
So they shot that in Toronto over 5 nights in downtown Toronto, and they said a lot of the people in downtown Toronto were pissed because they had to shoot at night. So they kept up people all night with racing. So some people trying to sleep or drive around couldn't get around because they were shooting.
Yeah, you just hear those
5 nights, and it doesn't even look like they're going 42 miles an hour, like you said, John. If that.
Yeah, again, that was like, because when you're younger, you're not used to catching that stuff and noticing like relative speed and things like that. So like when you're a kid, like, oh, look how badass that. Oh, they're going through the streets. It's so dangerous. And now I'm watching it and I'm old. I'm just like, nope. 42 miles an hour. Nope, they would never. Where's the traffic? Of course, you say that any action movie, right? When they're having a high speed race in a metropolis, you're like, how are they weaving through it? You can't. If we could weave through this, I'd get to work on time.
I do love the shot, though. Is a good shot, though, when the camera is on the car pointing towards their faces and you see the wind blowing on them. That's the one shot.
Super squinty. Yeah.
And I really worried about something hitting them in the eye.
Yeah. No. I kept thinking that too, and I thought that any water that gets kicked up by the other vehicles is going to have Metropolis street crud on it.
If they're going 200 miles an hour and a tiny pebble,
it's going to be like getting being flicked in the eyeball.
Yeah,
like a BB gun.
That's dangerous.
Very dangerous.
That's like when I have to chase you.
You're going to catch me every time.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's an epic scene. They built a lot of the trailer around that. It has a decent song during it. And then the lecture at the end that he gives him, then they become best friends and he starts using spoons for the racetrack.
Right.
I do like, though, all right, they show them on a private jet going to their next race. That's one thing I like about this movie. They show how ritzy it is for the drivers. I thought that was pretty cool. And I do like later on how they said that both of them were fined $25,000 for the race. That made me happy. Oh, in the deleted scenes, they had to go to a press conference afterwards. And Sly gets thrown under the bus for it, and Jimmy Bly gets no punishment. But they cut that.
I believe that. I would have liked that scene.
Because Bly's more important.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. But no, it's fun. No, you're right. It doesn't really... I watched it now and I like the technical things. I also like in this movie how they put so many different... I like how they traveled the world. I liked all the camera shots that they got. I mean, they had a race car similar to Rush that had cameras loaded all over it. Cameras were all over the drivers. You could see the rigs. On a technical standpoint, this movie's excellent. Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful film, too.
Oh, for sure.
Whatever. People can say color correction up and down all day long, but it is Michael Bay beautiful, but without the overly exaggerated warm filters from sunlight, you know?
Yep.
So it's gorgeous. It makes it more engaging for me. It makes it maybe more of a positive experience too. Everything's crisp.
Did the quick editing bother you?
No, it didn't. It made it feel pretty dynamic. But I know what you mean. Even in some of the social scenes, it felt a little quick.
Yeah,
but it didn't bother me. It makes me think what you said earlier. You called it like MTV style editing.
Oh, for sure. And
music video style editing.
Can I tell you something very interesting?
Did Renny Harlin do a lot of music videos?
Well, yeah, he did. Which is good call on that. I like that. This guy, right? The cinematographer Mauro Fiore. You listen to the movies he's done, and you'll find what kind of he did Driven, then he did Training Day, then he did Tears, but then he got in with Michael Bay, and he did The Island. Then he went and did Smoking Aces. Both those are very like cut. Then he worked,
especially Smoking Aces. Good Lord.
He did Kingdom and A-Team, but he won an Oscar for Avatar. This guy who shot this movie won an Oscar, and then he worked on Equalizer, Southpaw, Magnificent Seven. He got in with Antoine Fuqua, so he's been working with him a lot. He shot Infinite, which is coming out. This is a Academy Award-winning guy who shot this movie. So I mean, he did it. He's pretty good. Like the way this guy shot this film, I dug it. I like how he did it, and then he won an Oscar. He should thank this movie.
Again, the way that I don't know how much of it is Renny Harlin versus the people that he's choosing, but I really find that he has such an oddly diverse resume.
Oh yeah.
So and it's not like, oh, what, he did a horror movie and an action movie and a drama. It's like, no, I don't mean, it's the kind of horror movie, the kind of drama, the kind of, like this movie, not just a racing movie, this racing movie. Mm-hmm. His horror movie was Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, which is one of it's like, I think the most fun Freddy sequel. It's not the best sequel, right? But it is the most fun one. It is the absolutely most rewatchable one for me. And the Freddy sequels 3 and 4 specifically were known for their soundtracks more than like any other horror movies at the time, by chance. And then, we got our Deep Blue Sea. I saw a movie of his from 1987 called Prison, which looked like his training wheels for Nightmare on Elm Street, to be honest, which he did the next year, Part 8. But he's done such an interesting array of movies. And all of his movies, whatever the genre, they are more, I don't know how to put it, stylistically dynamic within that genre.
Yeah, absolutely. He finds ways to make them look interesting.
His movies are exciting. It upsets me, Marks, before I say it, so you know that I'm in. But when people say Deep Blue Sea, oh yeah, it was fun, but it's kind of a dumb movie. I'm like, what?
No,
no, you just said that was a fun movie. Success. Shut up.
Yeah.
Like,
it's people love Deep Blue Sea, and so many people it's so terrible it's good. I'm like, no, it's not so terrible it's good. And you know what bums me out is I hate that Cutthroat Island and Long Kiss Goodnight bombed in 95 and 96.
I like both of them.
Now, Cutthroat Island, I've read articles about this, and he went a little insane with spending. I mean, he brought in live animals. He spent money he shouldn't have spent. But what other movies in the 90s featured like a female action hero lead, right? what movies during that time had that? You had Sandra Bullock, but she was a side character in Speed. Jamie Lee Curtis in True Lies, side character. I mean, aside from Cynthia Rothrock, who was doing, direct-to-DVD roles. But this was over $100 million, $50 million movies led by a